Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be making subtitles, and the subtitles are going to be driven by audio clips that get played at the same time as the subtitles. It's kind of cool. There's also a setup video where I show how to set up the environment and the sort of basics of the project. If you want to download that starter project, that's in the show notes below. And if you just want to watch this video and you're quite happy to play along from there, then yeah, let's get started after the fade. This is the video I was mentioning in the intro, which hopefully I remember to record because I record the intros after this, so this may actually not be the intro. But anyway, if I didn't, then this is the setup for the project that I did. The link is below in the show notes if I didn't mention that in the intro. Okay, so if you walk over to the pile of junk here, it'll say that phrase, and then you go over to here.
The big red button says push the big red button. It's fairly obvious when you think about it. I mean, it's a big red button.
And then finally, when you go down the tunnel, so that hits. So what we want to do though is I want to have these when you hit that trigger, I want to display the text for those lines. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. For me, as always, in Unity, I'm going to get rid of Pro Builder because we don't need that because I've already built the stuff here. By the way, in the long version of the setup video for this, I actually have a play with Pro Builder, not a huge big play, but like enough of a play. Wow, it's actually I'm sure there's issues with it as there is with everything software related, but yeah, it seems like a nice bit of kit. Anyway, I'll have a play with it more, but so yeah, so this is the scene here, and attached to this object here I have a junk trigger, a button trigger, which is the one over here, and then finally a corridor trigger. And you'll notice that they are all the corridor triggers and all that kind of stuff, they are all basically colliders, and they have an audio source, and they have this other script on them here called the play voiceover script, which looks like this. Just get rid of this for a sec because I was doing a little test. So it just grabs the audio source, and then when the player enters the trigger, it plays the audio source. So fairly straightforward and innocuous type setup. If you want to know how I did that, then again, that video shows you how to do it. In this video though, I wanted to show how you can do scripting. Subtitles. I have a script of sorts, so I need to create my script. So my script is this one here. Now I'm going to do this in a very specific way. Now the way that I'm going to do it is I need to have it as a key value pair. Now I don't know if Unity is going to let me do that or not, which is a bit of a shame, because really I just want to read in the value into a dictionary. I do know that Newtonsoft does it, but I want to try and keep this as Unity-ish as possible. So I am going to try and figure this out. So I want to, well, I definitely want to start and stop JSON object. And then I want to have, actually, you know what, let's have, what is the best way of doing this? Let's have an array of objects. That's the best way of doing this. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's call it lines for lack of a better word, and that's going to be an array. And so all of these go inside here. And every line is going to be an object, and that object is a key. So the key is going to be something, and then the line is going to be something else. and we need 3 of these. So we need 1, 2, and then finally 3. Okay, so we have our 3 lines there. So I'm just going to take this and do cut and then paste, and then I'm going to do cut and I'm going to do paste, and then I'm going to do, oh, it's got an ellipsis, don't want special characters in there, I want dots, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do that. Okay, so now I have something I can deserialize. So I'm going to save that. I don't want to save it into there, I want to save it into here. So I want to create a folder called resources, and I'm going to open that folder in File Explorer, because now that's going to give me the path, and then I can copy the path here, and then I can paste it in here, and I'm just going to call it script.txt. Okay, that's all. So if I call it script.txt, that means that as a resource I can load it into memory as just a thing called script. Right. Now, where am I going to get the keys from? Well, if I put this over here, and then I choose my Unity, you'll see that down here I have big red button, detecting life form, junk pile. These are the keys I'm going to use. And the reason why I'm going to use these is because when you hit that trigger, it's going to pick up the audio source file. It's going to read the clip in, and then it's going to use it to access these lines here. So we're doing a kind of data-driven subtitle engine thing. There you go. That's a better way of putting it. So I can't save anything value in this pile is going to be junk pile. Then we have detecting life form. So that's going to be life form. And then the last one is big red button. Okay. So I now have, if I do a refresh here, you see that resource now has a script. And if I make that big, you see that up here now we have our script. Now just to validate that this is okay, I'm going to grab everything, and then I'm going to go over to here and go to JSON lint. JSON lint is a awesome website, and then you can click on validate JSON and make sure everything's okay, and you can see down here it says it's a valid JSON file, so we're good to go. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to have a script reader. Now the script reader is going to have a couple of files, a couple of classes associated with it. The first one is the collection of scripts, the lines, and then it's going to be the individual lines. I'm going to put that in a dictionary just to make things a little bit easier for ourselves. So inside my scripting folder, I probably shouldn't have called it script because now everything's called script. So C#, and this is going to be my voice, excuse me, over line. So voice over line, yeah. So voice over line, and then I'm going to have another script here called voice over text, and then I'm going to have another script here, and I'm going to call this script. Let's call this script manager. So script manager is the thing that's going to read values in here. Voice over line is each individual. Bring this up here. Oops. So voice over line is each individual object in here. So this is a single object, this is another object. So voiceover line is a single object. And then the other one is voiceover text, which is the entire file. Hopefully that makes sense. So our let's go back to here. Let's keep this here, and then we'll put this in here, and then we do a reload. This will load everything in here, and then we do a reload, and we do a reload, and reload. Probably should have reloaded everything, never mind. So voiceover line does not extend from mono behavior. So we don't have mono behavior in here. What we do have is we have key and line. So we have public string key, public string line. That's it. That's all we have in here. And we have serializable using system. That's it. That's all we have. So we just have voiceover line, which is this class here. So this class, this JSON entry, this object here, this is going to be represented in C# as this class over here. And hopefully you can sort of see that there's a correlation between this line here and this variable over here, this field over here. Okay, so that's voiceover line. The other one is the voiceover text, which is the general file. And the general file for that is public, and this is going to be voiceover line, which is an array called lines. And that is also serializable. And I will add system and remove everything else. And that is all there is for voiceover text. That's it. So these are our lines, and that's an array. So that's why we've got this square bracket here. So that gives us our lines there. So our script manager, I'm going to create a private dictionary string, and it's going to be, this is going to be, let's just call it lines, new dictionary, and then I'm going to specify string comparer dot ordinal ignore case. Why doesn't it like string comparer? Using system. There you go. So what this does is it says I'm going to create a key value pair. The key is a string and the value is a string. But when I'm comparing strings, ignore the case. So it makes it case insensitive. So if your file name, let's say you have your designer goes in and creates all the file names with capital letters, and inside here you define everything as lowercase letters for whatever reason, who knows, that bit there will get around it. So you'll be able to use string comparer with just any other, with mix and match case if you want. Okay. So we can get rid of the start and update, but we do want to have private void awake, and our awake, oh yeah, what we need to do is we need to public string resource file equals script. We'll call it script. It doesn't matter what that is. So we now want to load our text asset. Resources dot load text asset, and then we want to pipe in resource file var JSON. We're just going to assume that everything's right because we're building this. This is not user generated content. If this file is missing, then that's a problem for us as developers, so we should fix this before we ship the game. So if this breaks now, then there's problems. So the JSON is text asset dot. Actually, let's not bother with the JSON. We can get rid of it. We can do var and then the vo text is equal to JSON utility dot from JSON, and then we want to specify voice over text, and then the JSON. So that's going to be text asset dot text. So we're loading in our text asset, and then we take that text asset, we parse it through the JSON utility, and then that gets us our voice over text object. And then for each of these values, we're going to add it to our dictionary. So we're going to say for each var t in vo text, why is it not liking that? Oh yeah, vo text dot lines. We want to say lines t dot key equals t dot line. That's it. That's all we want to do. Now this is going to display one piece of text for the entire duration, which might be enough for us, but we'll see. And now I want to have a public string get text string audio. This is going to be text key, I guess we're going to call this. And this is just an access into our script manager. So our script manager is then going to return that value there. So we're going to say tmp equals that. If lines contains key text key, actually it'd be try get value. Yeah, you want to try and get the value, and then we do out tmp return tmp return string.empty, something like that. Okay, so that gets us our text from that document there. So yeah, so our awake, oops, sorry, it's a bit loud. For our awake, we're going to grab everything from the file, and then for each value inside there, we're going to add it to our dictionary. And then we have a public getter here that goes away and tries to get the value, and if it gets the value, it returns it. Otherwise, it returns a blank line, which is good because it means it'll set that value there. So let's create empty, and then this is going to be our script manager, and we're going to add the script manager here. So script manager, and you can see that it's got resource file there. And for now, what we could do is our play voiceover, we could have it in here. So we could do it inside here. So if I open up this file here, we could quite easily add another couple of lines in here, but I want to keep it separate. I want this script to do one thing, and I want the GUI to do another thing, and I want the subtitles to do another thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this script here, and I'm going to do almost exactly the same thing, but I'm going to print out the text. So I'm going to grab everything here, and then I'm going to say create C# script, and then this is going to be play subtitles. Actually, play subtitle, I'll call it. So reload solution. So play subtitle. And I'm just going to paste everything there and change that to subtitle. And so it's going to be the audio source there, but I'm also going to private script manager. So script manager is actually going to go out and try and find this object here. So I'm going to say script manager equals find object of type, and then it's going to be script manager. So it's going to go and find an object of this type in the current scene, which is quite an expensive call, which means you don't want to do that every single tick. You can do it in the awake, but don't do it every single tick. And then, if it's found, what I want to do is I want to get that text. I'm going to say var get text script is going to be script manager.get text, and then it's going to be the clip name. So audio source dot I think it's called clip name. And then I'm just going to do print script. So I just want to see that this is working. Just want to make sure it's okay. So this is going to display it in the console window. So I'm going to keep the console window open there. I'm going to clear it. Any compilation errors? Don't see anything. It's taking a while to compile. Okay. And then we run. So I'm going to run up to the, no, there you go, null reference. Line 23. So it can't find the resource file. Why not? Because I called it resource. It should be, of course, resources. Okay. So the special name, if you might want to look up special folders, but special folder names in Unity, they have to be called something specific. So in this case, I missed out the S at the end of resources, and that's why it was causing problems there. So we run it. Shouldn't get any, no, here we go, we don't get any nulls. And now if I run over to the junk pile,
I can't see anything of value in this junk. I can't see anything of value in this junk pile.
That did not happen, did it? Let's see why that didn't happen. Reload solution. Okay. Play subtitle. I'll tell you why it didn't work. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to add the script. It's a true story. Made a mistake. Okay, so junk trigger. I'm going to add play subtitle. Now, play subtitle doesn't have any parameters or anything like that. It knows it's got to go and grab the audio source. So I'm going to go and play this now, and now it'll just work.
I can't see anything of value in this junk file.
There you go. So it's come up and it's said that there. So if I clear that and then I run up,
I can't see anything of
you can see that it appears over here.
file.
So now what we need to do is, instead of doing that, we need to get that onto our screen. Now, the way we do that is we're going to create a UI and then we're going to create text. So if we go to our scene and then do F, and we'll put it into 2D mode. So you see that we have our text at the bottom here. Now, this is the full screen. Now, depending on what platform you're on, there are certain parts of the screen that are known as dead zones, and they advise you not to put text or any UI elements inside those text zones. They're kind of like bleeding edges. If you sort of think about the way that printing works or the way that old screen TVs worked, is you would have like, dead zones either side and top and bottom. So for us, we are going to maybe stretch it across to about here maybe, and then to about here-ish, and then make about that deep, and then maybe about here. There you go, that's centered. I'm also going to center the text there, center the text there. I'm also going to make it white text as well, and I have my reasons. You want to make the font size as big as you can, because imagine if you're playing it on a 40-inch TV screen on your living room wall, which is 10 feet that way. You're not going to be able to see text that's tiny. I mean, even you're probably struggling to see text that's in here just now. So you just want to make it as sort of comfortable as possible. So there's probably about a good height for us. So I'm just going to put in this is temporary text. And the next thing I want to do is I want to add outline. And the reason I want to add outline is so that it pops a bit. That's all. And yeah, I think that's okay. So if you zoom in, you can see that there's a little bit of an outline against there. It just makes it look a little bit nicer against the background. And we can leave everything else as is. So I'm going to call this subtitle text. And then I'm going to create yet another script. And then this script is going to be, what is this script going to be called? This is going to be called Subtitle GUI Manager. So Subtitle GUI Manager is going to control all the GUI elements. So for the GUI here, what I want to do is I want to say public void set text string text. That's it. That's all I want to have in there. Is I just want to have a set text, and then I want to have public text text. Let's call it text box, and then we'll add the UI namespace. So we have our set text there, and then all we're going to do is do text box dot text equals text. That's it. And we can have other ones as well. We can have like a public void clear text box dot text equals that. Actually, we should probably have string dot empty. So we could do like that. So that's the only thing that we have in there is our subtitle GUI manager. That's it. And we need to have another. I'm going to put it on the same object here. We don't need to put it in the same object here because I'm going to actually have to drag and drop things, but just for completeness, just for convenience, not completeness. Subtitle GUI manager, and you see that it needs a text box, so I'm going to just drag and drop that game object onto it, and then it's got that text box on it. Now if I go back to my play subtitle, I also need a private script subtitle GUI manager. So we'll call that GUI manager. So I'll have GUI manager, and then we have this here. Now what we have is we have a bit of an issue. The issue is that I don't want the text to keep displaying. So if I just did GUI manager dot set text script. So if I do this, and hopefully everything compiles, and I'm going to take out that temporary text as well. And there, and then we should probably, what's the best way to do this? I want to set it there. No, I don't want to set it there. think I want to set it there. Yeah. And then maybe here. Alright, let's leave it at that. Bottom stretchy alongy that way. Okay. So now, running it, we'll...
I can't see anything of value in this junk file.
We get a null reference. Why do we get null reference? GUI manager has not been set. So what we need to do is we need to do GUI manager equals find object of type subtitle GUI manager. Okay. You'll be sick of that speech. Okay, compile. All right. So we go over here and
I can't see anything of value in this junk file.
So the text appears and then it stays up, which is, you know, not good. And you can see also that there's, if I move Ethan over here, you'll see there's a little, actually if I zoom in, oh no, I can't zoom in out of there, damn it. I can zoom in a little bit. You can see that there's a nice little sort of subtle line across there, or outline across there, which is really cool. So what I'm going to do is, instead of doing that, I am going to use a coroutine. So I'm going to say start coroutine, and then this is going to be play subtitle, and the coroutine, private enumerator, play subtitle. So it's going to be the exact same thing in here. I need to add using system.collections. So set text there, and then I'm going to do yield return new wait for seconds audio source dot clip dot length, and it says the length of the audio clip in seconds, which is perfect for us. And then there you go. Why is that not letting me do that? Oh, right, okay. Yeah, good point. Whoops. Do subtitle. Let's do that. Okay. So let's call it do subtitle, because this is called play subtitle, and you can't have member names that do that unless it's the constructor. So we get the text, we then set the text there, and then we get that value there. So the neat thing though is, let's say, if I go back to here, let's, instead of returning string.empty, let's return, how did we do this again? Sorry, I'm just reading the cheat sheet here. No. Rich text. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So we can have color equals 00. It would be ff00ff missing text. So we can have that there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just show you what that means. Is that if any text is missing, we'll be alerted immediately to it, and so we don't need to do any other processing. We can just, like, we don't need to figure out what's missing. We know exactly what it is, and therefore we can react to it. So there you go, missing text. So we can make it even more subtle. We can actually say, or sorry, more explicit. We can say missing text for, and then text key plus that. So now this should be pretty cool. So we got our missing text. No compiler errors. We run up here.
I can't see anything of value in this junk file.
And there you go. Our text. Folding laundry. Our text is now gone, which is good. So I can put this text back here. So if we have valid text, we return that. If we have missing text, we return a horrible magenta colored missing text for, and then the text key. And then when you're playing through the game, you know what voiceovers are missing. It's kind of neat, subtle. You know, it's not subtle. I don't know why I'm using subtle. It's not the word I mean.
I can't see anything of value in this junk file.
So that's good. All right, that's the first thing. Next thing, we need to do that for all the other ones as well. So that's fairly trivial, isn't it? All we need to do is just add play subtitle to the other ones. So we go to our corridor trigger, play subtitle, and we go to our button trigger and we add play subtitle. Save the scene, run it, and then we go up to here.
You notice above the big red button says push the big red button. It's fairly obvious when you think about it. I mean, it's a big red button.
So that's good. And then we go down the corridor.
I'm detecting a line form up ahead.
That's good.
I'm detecting a line form up ahead. I can't see anything of value in this junk file. The notice above the big red button says push the big red button. It's fairly obvious when you think about it. I mean, it's a big red button.
Okay. So, I mean, we're done. If you want to end the video here, that's fine. But I do think, though, that we could do a little bit better. Sometimes when you have, let's say you're narrating something and you don't want it to go on forever. So the easiest way is to split the text into multiple lines. So that's what we're going to do. So instead of line being a single line, I'm going to make it an array. And all we're going to do is just add this value, these brackets here, and that makes it an array. Wait, what? Is it locked? It's probably locked. Oh, yeah, because I'm in there. Okay. So I need to do that as file, save as, and then it is not resources. That's because I changed the name, the folder name. JSON Explorer, services, and I want to save that as script. Save, yep. And so let me recap there because we're kind of lost with the folder rename there. So all I'm doing is I'm making this an array of strings instead of just a string. So what do we have to do to fix that? Well, we go over to our voiceover text, that's voiceover line, and then inside there we just make that an array. That's it. That's all we do in there. On the other side, though, we have to make it a little bit better because in the script manager, our lines are now no longer strings, they are actually arrays of lines. And similarly, it is this here. And then obviously this is not going to no longer work. Equals new string that, and we need to do new string that. And that gets us back to where we were on this side. On the other side, we still need to do things inside our play subtitle. So play subtitle is going to get an array of these values. So what we need to do is we need to say we still want to play for this length, but we want to do it for each line that we have. So we want to say var line duration equals, and then it's going to be audio source dot clip dot length divided by script dot length. Now it's always going to be 1 because if it's missing, then you're going to have to set those values out. So you're going to have to, if it's missing, then you're always going to have one item in it. You're always going to have that item, and if it exists, then it's going to be you're going to get this value here. You're going to get the value back. So as long as you don't add blank lines in here, you're good to go. However, you might want to check and make sure that length is not 0. So each line duration there, and then what we want to do is we want to say for each var line in script, you want to do GUI manager dot set text line, and then yield return the duration of that line. All right. And then at the very end, you want to set it to empty. Okay. So we show the text, we wait for that particular line, and then at the very end of all of that, we then set it back to nothing. So all of those changes will make no difference whatsoever to our code. It's going to take a bit of time to compile. And we run. And there you go. And then this one here. So this text is quite long. So that clearly there was method in my madness when I was thinking about this problem. So what I want to do is I want to split this line into multiple quotes. So I'm going to do it here. I'm going to say that this is one quote here. This is another quote here. And this is the last quote. So now, when we run this, you'll see a little bit of a difference. So the other ones won't, they only have one line, so that's fine. But this one's going to have multiple lines, and you'll see that the line of dialogue plays out.
Notice above the big red button says, push the big red button. It's fairly obvious when you think about it. I mean, it's a big red button.
So it's not particularly, it works. As long as you keep the lines fairly, the same size, roughly the same size, it makes it good. Makes it good. English. I just hope that you understand what's going on here, and I'm explaining it well enough. If you split it over multiple lines, let me try again. If you split it over multiple lines, make sure that each individual line is roughly the same duration. Otherwise, you end up with slightly stepped out of time sequencing. But it kind of generally works. I kind of use this technique in a game that I shipped, so for the most part it works. You can do other things, and I'll leave that up to you to decide what you want to do for there. But you can like add timings and all that kind of stuff inside your code. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please leave them down below. As always, the source code is available, links below, and the link to the other video that I mentioned, the setup video, is somewhere around here at the start of the video, I think. Something like that anyway. Yeah, that's it. I think I covered everything. If I didn't, if you have any questions, just let me know below. But that's it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, I appreciate, as always, your time and effort in watching these videos. They do go on a bit. I mean, this is an hour in this one, and it's an hour in the previous video. So if you've sat through all two videos, you basically sat through a Marvel movie. Think about it like that, except you've just watched one guy going for 2 hours. So thanks again. I was going to say something else there. Oh yes, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, the notification icon, the little check mark, send a note in from your mum, and your last 4 stool movements, or I don't know what it is. YouTube. If you like this video, like it. If you didn't, thumbs and all that kind of stuff as well. It helps the channel and so forth and such like. And don't forget to share. If you like this video, then share on social media, Twitter, Facebook. I don't care. I'm Facebook agnostic. Google Plus. Who knew that's still a thing? Yeah. So until the next video, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Keep coding.